There's been an interesting exchange yesterday, or this morning actually, I think, with Joe Biden using fairly ferocious language towards Vladimir Putin, calling him a butcher, a murderous madman, a crazy SOB, and a war criminal. All of these are perfectly reasonable, I think, but the Russian media is apoplectic with indignation. These terms reflect Biden's strong condemnation of Putin's actions, particularly in relation to the invasion of Ukraine, the illegal invasion of Ukraine, the brutal invasion of Ukraine. And Biden's rhetoric underscores a broader strategic effort to emphasize the threat posed by Russia under Putin's leadership and to galvanize support for NATO and its principles of collective defense. Biden's language and his public denunciation of Putin serve several purposes. Number one, to condemn the aggression. By using strong language, Biden unequivocally condemns Putin's military actions in Ukraine, framing them as a severe threat to international stability and European security. Number two, he rallies the allies, we hope, and reinforces the solidarity among NATO allies, particularly pulling in people like Viktor Orban, highlighting the importance of a unified response to Russian aggression and the relevance of NATO's collective defense clause. Number three, the domestic political strategy is helped possibly by an impression of Biden as a firm-speaking man of action, as opposed to somebody who is incapacitated by failing memory. And his harsh criticisms of Putin also serve to contrast his stance with that of his political rival Donald Trump, whom Biden claims has praised Putin as a genius. Well, Biden has less connection with Putin, but Putin and Trump certainly have links. This serves to portray Biden as resolute and tough on international threats, in contrast to his opponent. Russia's reaction to Biden's language has been predictably negative, and Russian officials, including the Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov, have dismissed Biden's remarks as unbecoming of a head of state, and they've suggested that such language is a sign of Biden's mental decline. This counters Biden's intended portrayal of strength, with a narrative questioning his competence and stability and pulling the rug deftly from under his feet. Russians are not stupid. Overall, Biden's direct and confrontational language towards Putin and Russia is part of a broader geopolitical strategy. I don't think it's advised, but it aims at reaffirming US commitment to international security and isolating Russia diplomatically. Actually, we should be speaking to Russia. However, this approach also carries risks, including the potential for escalating tension and providing fodder for Russian propaganda efforts to undermine Biden's credibility, interfere in the coming presidential election, and generally make mishap. In the meantime, here's a picture of President Putin emerging from the Smeg fridge. And, well, do I really think he's in a Smeg fridge? I don't know. Certainly following the news from two sources, at least possibly three, that President Putin died on October the 28th at about 9:15 in the evening. I think that information is so specific it should not be dismissed, and also the equally well sourced information that Putin has a number of doppelgangers. But I don't think really he would be in a Smeg fridge, frankly. He would be more likely to be in a Tampov Soviet ripoff. And the Tampov people actually made rather good fridges, and they're rather impressive, but very much modelled on that Smeg look. So whether Putin is pushing up against peas, the Smedley frozen peas in the Smeg fridge, or in the Tampoff ripoff, I think he abandoned humanity long ago. Whether he is dead or actually clinging on to some vestige of life doesn't really matter. He is frozen in a past configuration of growing evil, and the smell, the stench of Putin can be felt even here. I would incidentally urge you to have a look at my new channel, which is Professor Tim's Thoughts, and you can find a video about Julian Assange, an in-depth video about Julian Assange. There's so much more to say. I might even do a follow-up with even more of the rumours and speculation about Julian Assange's links with Putin, about his links with Trump, about his efforts to help the Australian government to expose child pornography, paedophilia in the early days of his career after he'd been identified as a hacker and faced court charges. But Julian Assange is a controversial figure. Apparently, he has said rather horrifying things about to defend his failure to erase people's names and identities from the information that he published. He says, well, it's their fault. And I think that is worrying. The charge against him has always been that he caused problems and exposed people in the documentation to danger. Whether they actually experienced danger or not doesn't actually erase the fact that he exposed them, and he exposed them in a careless way. And that is something that maybe he must answer for, but I don't think that being incarcerated in Belmarsh prison for such a long period of time and being held in solitary confinement was ever justified. And I think the British government, so the last British government, is going to have to answer for that treatment, and it undermines our position morally, ethically, when we criticize states like Russia that incarcerate those people like Gershkovich and the late lamented Alexei Navalny for Karamurza for questioning their principles. We can't have it both ways. We can't criticize one nation for its brutality and arguably do the same thing ourselves. So do check my other channel. I'll also be doing some longer educational videos, which I hope will support people who are preparing to do A-levels, GCSEs, finish exams at university, or indeed do the 11+ or the 7+ exams. I will cover all of these, I hope. Just contact me and let me know what topics you want me to deal with.